What is going on, guys? Joey here, and today I just wanted to make this video and talk about how formulas are bad for powerlifting. Now, before you get all in a tussle or whatever, I can see how some people may like formulas because it will probably benefit them. But I'm going to kind of break it down and explain my take. I might use... there's a lot of different examples of, certain things like this in other sports, but they're a little bit different. So let me kind of go ahead and get into it. So one of the reasons why I don't like lifting formulas, especially now that there's so many, is it makes it difficult for lifters to sort of adjust or, perfect themselves or their just really refine their training and their goals and what it is that they're trying to achieve when the formula that they're competing with is going to possibly be different every single time, right? This obviously makes inconsistencies in the sport, and it's also not good for general population, like trying to watch powerlifting. They're going to see something like that and they're going to be confused. They're going to be like, what's going on? Like, why, I thought this person was, the strongest or whatever. They win at this formula, but in this meet, they got like 5th place or something. Right. So it's, I think we can all agree that the standards and the rule sets that you use for whatever it is that you're doing has to be like similar, or it's just going to create division, right? You're going to have people that want one way versus another way, right? Another reason why I don't like formulas is, let's say we have somebody like Jesus Olivares, okay? My man Jesus. I think we can all agree that him squatting 1,000 pounds is impressive. If you go out to anybody in the street and you say, yo, this guy squats 1,000 pounds, they're going to be like, what the fuck? They're going to be like, holy shit, that's a lot, right? That's a great achievement. That's a very interesting accomplishment. And I don't think it makes sense to compare someone that squats 1,000 pounds, 1,000, to somebody who is like 5 weight classes below them, squatting 500, 550 pounds, something like that, right? I don't get it. Like, it doesn't, I get it, but at the same time, I think it diminishes both achievements, right? Whichever way you want to look at it, when you have a small lifter that hits, 3 times body weight, 4 times body weight, something crazy, right? And then you have a big lifter that does like 2.5 times body weight. It's still an incredible milestone, and human beings are just not able to lift this weight. It's like soul-crushing weight. But now you're comparing them to someone that's it's just different. It's just completely different. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, let's say somebody squats 4 times body weight at a small weight class, and then somebody squats 1,000 pounds. When you compare the small person to the big person, it's like, oh, well, this guy squats 1,000 pounds. You only squat that, and it's diminishing their amazing, 4 times body weight achievement. Same thing, vice versa. You have the big guy squatting 1,000 pounds, and then you're comparing him to a really small lifter that is impressive in their own right, but you're like, oh, well, this is 1,000. You get what I'm saying? Like whichever way you do it, you could argue for either which one, and it just creates, it's just a dumb thing to compare to, because in my opinion, it's very difficult to quantify what achievement is more significant. It really is, to me, at least. It's very difficult to do that. Now, you could look at it one way, which is how I used to look at it in the past. When a really big lifter is only lifting a couple times their body weight, in my mind, it's like, yeah, they're only lifting a couple times their body weight, but they're lifting weight that people just don't lift. Like, nobody is touching these weights. These weights are very rare to be seen lifted in a clean way by a human. Therefore, things that are rare should have value, right? at the same, you know, kind of token to that, or you know, on that same kind of mindset, lifters that are lifting many times their body weight, in my opinion, are impressive as well. Now, I think doing a 3 times body weight lift is probably a lot more common than, you know, squatting 1,000 pounds or some crazy milestone, or pulling 900 or benching 600 or something impossible like that. You get what I'm saying? So it's just, I just don't think you can accurately say one thing is objectively better than the other. You know, we can use these formulas to try to put a number on it, put a value on it, and they might be pretty decent, but I really just don't like the idea of, you know, we had, like, so for example, we had the women's weight classes competing in it was a meet in France. I don't know the exact name. I don't know what the circumstances were, how to get in or anything like that. But you guys know Jessica Bittner competed and she got 5th place. Now, to me, she's one of the most compelling lifters, you know, out right now. She's strong. She has good, an imposing physicality that I think is good for the disruption of the norms surrounding like what lifting is, or like what the old school mindset of what lifting should be or whatever. She's breaking that stereotype, and I think she provides a lot of value to the sport, and she inspires a lot of people. But in that specific instance, when you're using a formula, you know, I think it literally just went like smallest weight class to highest weight class. I think between the middle, it was there might have been some flip-flopping there, but I think it literally went like smallest weight class first, and then, you know, maybe between second and third there was an interchange, but it was basically like smallest to biggest, like ranking from highest to lowest, right? And to me, it's like, okay, like what are we placing, what as a collective community of powerlifting do we want to place like a value on? Like what is supposed to be revered as like highly sought after, you know, this is the top of the top, whatever. Competing against people straight up in your weight class, I mean, that's like the best way to do it, right? That's very objective. You're lifting the most amount of weight. You weigh the same. That's easy, right? And then in the same weight class, if it comes down to a tiebreaker or something like that and you have to use a formula or whatever, then cool. Fuck, in football, they flip a coin to see who gets the ball first and who gets it at the half. You literally just flip a coin. And that happens sometimes with something called lot numbers, right? You just get a lot number. You don't get to do anything about that. You just get it. And if you get a high one or a low one, you got to deal with it. Now, I'm not trying to diminish the accomplishments any which way. You get what I'm saying? But I was just providing you guys an example. You know, I believe Heather got first place. Congratulations, Heather, for getting first place. I'm sure it felt amazing to do that. To do those things, and I think we need to have, you know, it's weird. It's like it's an open discussion, right? Maybe we should have some meets where they use one formula that can kind of favor certain lifters, and we have another meet that favors other kinds of lifters. Now with Sheffield, they're doing something a little bit different, which I kind of like, where they're basing, you know, like you're basically competing against the best person in your weight class. Or the world record total, and then how you perform in proximity to that will give you some sort of a point, some sort of like scoring or something. And I like that. One of the reasons why I like that is because let's say, the world record total is, I don't know, I'm just going to throw it out here, like 800 kg for something, right? 74 kg, whatever. Let's just say is that. I think it's a little bit higher, but who cares, right? And you're competing against other people in your weight class and obviously if you out total someone in your weight class, that takes care of it. You're going to be ranked higher than that person in your weight class. When you're competing against people in a different weight class, the only time it really kind of gets screwed up is if there's like an anomaly in another weight class and the record is like very, very, very skewed. And, you know, you just can't come close to it, which I think as powerlifting progresses, that'll be less of a thing because the classes are going to get deeper. Things are going to be more kind of streamlined based on body type. What doesn't help is that we have two federations. There's really two different kind of weight classes. There's like USPA, USAPL, and then there's like IPF, which is like the rest of the world. And that kind of like complicates things. People are less likely to move to the other side when they're already like really accustomed to lifting in a specific weight class. So it's not a perfect system, but it's just a way to do it. You know what I mean? What is the point of this video? The point of this video is, at the very least, don't diminish your own accomplishments by comparing yourself to, one, somebody else in general, but two, somebody else in another weight class. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of crazy to me, you know, for somebody to do that. I just don't think they're comparable. I really just don't think they're comparable, and I just think that, you know, we don't really have anything better. And I understand that it's very complicated to, you know, have these meets where, you know, you're having people compete against each other, but they're not in the same weight class. And you're trying to put a number on their performance, you know, based on that. I feel like it worked pretty decent with Wilkes in the past. Because a lot of the lifters that I saw as like very highly like strong lifters, like, wow, these guys are ranked really high, you know, they had high scores, you know. If you look at, you know, I think back in the day, it was like Jesse Norris, Ray Williams, and Sergey Fedosinko. I call him Fedicinco, right? They all had extremely high Wilkes scores, and they were all very ahead of their pack, right? And that kind of made sense. At the end of the day, it's not like the powerlifting overlords are going to hear this video and say, hey, you know what, man, that really makes a lot of sense. We're going to go ahead and make a new formula or just stop doing that or whatever. I don't think it's ever going to be perfect, but I think comparing like a super heavyweight to a 52 kg or 59 kg male is just like, doesn't make any sense. Or 52 kg female, I don't get it. And I don't think it's good for the sport. I really don't. I think it's too confusing. I think if I'm trying to explain something to my mom and I'm telling her like, oh, well, this guy won even though he lifted less weight because there was like a math formula that valued him more. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, don't compare yourself. Focus on what you're doing. Compare yourself to where you were 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. Don't worry about what other people are doing in other weight classes. And if you do put yourself in that position, understand that there are objectively like disadvantages and advantages depending on what weight class you're in. So just some formulas are going to favor middleweight. Some formulas are going to favor like the opposite ends of the spectrums or the weight classes, right? Like smaller and bigger, right? So just understand that. Don't put too much weight on it, right? Like your whole life should not be based on that. But I mean, I guess in a sport like powerlifting, it's a way to make things somewhat interesting. Anyway, just wanted to rant today. If you guys haven't checked it out, we're posting, you know, condensed versions of these videos. Sometimes I'll do new topics on TikTok and a couple reels on IG. Yeah, that's it, guys. Check out the description. See you guys in the next one. Peace.